Yahweh's 613 Laws, a reference guide, the 248 positive commandments, the worship of Yahweh. Law number 1, believe in Yahweh as the only source of power in the universe. Exodus 20 verse 2, I am Yahweh your heavenly Father who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Law number 2, submit to Yahweh as the supreme head to be in unity with Yahweh. Deuteronomy 6 verse 4, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Father, Yahweh is one. Law number 3, love Yahweh with all our heart, soul, and might. Deuteronomy 6 verse 5, and you must love Yahweh your Father with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. Law number 4, reverence Yahweh by keeping his laws. Deuteronomy 6, 1, 2, 13, and 25. Now these are the laws, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahweh your Father has commanded me to teach you, so that you may observe them in the land you are crossing over to possess, so that you may reverence Yahweh your Father by keeping all his statutes and his laws, which I command you, your son and your son's son, all the days of your life, and so that your days may be prolonged. Yahweh your Father you must reverence, and him you must serve, and by his name you must take your oaths. And it will be our righteousness if we observe to do all of this law before Yahweh our Father as he has commanded us. Law number 5, serve Yahweh. Exodus 23 verse 25. And you shall serve Yahweh your Father, and he will bless your bread and water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you. Law number 6, hold fast to Yahweh. Deuteronomy 10 verse 20. You shall revere Yahweh your Father and serve him. Hold fast to him and take your oaths in his name. Law number 7, taking an oath by Yahweh's name. Deuteronomy 6 verse 13. Yahweh your Father you must reverence, and him you must serve, and by his name you must take your oaths. Law number 8, walk in Yahweh's ways. Deuteronomy 28 verse 9. Yahweh will establish you as his holy people unto himself, as he promised you on oath, if you will keep the laws of Yahweh your Father and walk in all his ways. Law number 9, sanctify Yahweh's name. Leviticus 22 verse 32. You shall not profane my holy name, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahweh who sanctifies you and sets you apart as holy. Law number 10, read, study, and meditate on the book of the law. Deuteronomy 6 verse 7. And you must teach them diligently to your children, and talk about them when you sit in your house, and when you walk on the road, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Law number 11, teach the book of the law to our children. Deuteronomy 6 verse 7. And you must teach them diligently to your children, and talk about them when you sit in your house, and when you walk on the road, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Law number 12, bind the law upon our hands. Deuteronomy 6 verse 8. You shall tie them as symbols upon your hand, and they shall be as a distinguishing mark in the eyes of everyone. Law number 13, write the law upon our minds. Deuteronomy 6 verse 8. You shall tie them as symbols upon your hand, and they shall be as a distinguishing mark in the eyes of everyone. Law number 14, make tzitzit on the corners of the talits. Numbers 15, 38 to 40. Speak to the children of Israel. Tell them to make tassels, tzitzit, on the corners of their garments, talit, throughout their generations, and to put a cord of blue in each tassel, tzitzit. And you shall have the tassel, the tzitzit, that you may look upon it and remember all the laws of Yahweh and do them, so that you do not follow after the lusts of your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a-whoring. By doing this, you may remember and do all my laws, thus becoming holy to your Father. Law number 15, preach and publish Yahweh's law. Deuteronomy 6 verse 9. And you shall write, preach, and publish them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates at the house of Yahweh. Law number 16, gather for the reading of the law every 7th year. Deuteronomy 31, 10 through 13. Then Moshe commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the set time of the year of release, at the appointed time for canceling debts, at the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel comes to appear in front of Yahweh your Father in the place he shall choose, you must read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men, women, children, and the strangers within your cities, so they may listen and so they may learn to reverence Yahweh your Father by carefully observing and doing all the words of this law. In this same way, their children who do not know this law may listen to it, thereby learning to reverence Yahweh your Father as long as you live in the land which you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Law number 17. A king must acquire and apply the book of the law. Deuteronomy 17:18 through 20. When he sits on the throne of his kingdom, then he shall write for himself a copy of this law, borrowed from the priests who are Levites, on a scroll. It is to remain with him, and he is to study it all the days of his life, so he may learn to reverence Yahweh his Father by carefully observing all the words of this law and these statutes. So he may not become proud and think himself better than his brothers, and turn away to the right hand or to the left from this law. Then he and his descendants will rule a long time in the midst of the kingdom. Law number 18. Acquire the book of the law. Deuteronomy 31:19. Now this perfect law is therefore written for you. Teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, so that I have this perfect law bearing witness for those who reverence Yahweh. Law number 19. Be thankful to Yahweh in prayer, praise, and deed. Deuteronomy 8:10. When you have eaten and are satisfied, then you must bless Yahweh your Father for the rich land he has given you.